Welcome to my everything you need to know about Pokemon Unite that Pokemon Unite doesn't explicitly tell you video. This video is aimed at new to intermediate players that are looking to take their gameplay to that next level. We're going to highlight briefly some in-game fundamentals that are key to being successful. We're going to talk about optimal in-game settings to make your character movements as precise as possible. We're going to give an overview of the held item systems, talk about how upgrading them works and which ones are ideal to focus on upgrading first and why. We're going to take a broad look at how the boost emblem system in Pokemon Unite works and explain which bonuses are the ones that you should care about when you're selecting those. And finally, we're going to give a quick overview of where you can find tier lists and which builds of powerful Pokemon are the best to look at when you're looking to explore new options. All of those topics are listed in the video chapters down below if you want to skip around to a particular one. Thanks for hanging out today. Enjoy. There are two gameplay fundamentals I would like to cover in this video because I think they're really important and good players tend to do them much better than those that are worse at the game. The first of these is last hitting. Last hitting is what we refer to as getting that final knockout blow on either a wild or objective Pokemon. The thing newer players seem to miss most often in my experience is that you need to save your attack that does the biggest burst of damage for the final blow on whatever you are contesting as opposed to leading on it. By having your biggest burst of damage at the end, it gives you the most likely possibility to secure. My best piece of advice for folks that are learning a new character, and I even do this when new characters come out, is go into the practice tool and get a feel for how much damage your attacks do at various levels on your character. So that way it starts to become intuitive. When you see that health bar get into the proper range, you fire up your attack and are able to secure those valuable last hits. The second thing that excellent Pokemon Unite players are really good at is keeping track of the mini map. Honestly, anytime you are not explicitly microing inside of an engagement, if you're walking around the map, get used to being able to have your character walk while you are looking at the minimap. The minimap not only tells you the positions of objective Pokemon and wild Pokemon that are up, but it lets you know where the opposing team is at many points. This can provide you valuable information. For example, if the entire opposing team is showing in the top path, this means it's safe for you to run and deposit your Eos energy in the bottom goal without being contested. Next, we're going to cover some optimal control settings for in-game. By default, Pokemon Unite has a few things toggled on that I think do you a disservice. Let's talk about what I think is ideal for your in-game settings and why. To start with, I think your opponent lock-on priority should be lowest HP value. This tells the game what to prioritize with your ranged auto attacks, especially when there are multiple targets in range of you hitting them. Speaking of having multiple targets in range, probably the most important thing to enable under your control settings is the advanced controls. The advanced controls adds an additional button on mobile or on Switch. It allows you to press both A and B to auto attack while adding priority for what your auto attacks are going towards. When you press this smaller button here on mobile, it's going to send your attack priority towards wild Pokemon, whereas when you press the main attack button, it sends your attack priority towards opposing Pokemon. On the Switch, B attacks wild Pokemon while A attacks opponents. This is a very important distinction because when you're contesting last hits on either wild Pokemon or objectives, being able to direct your auto attacks at the contested thing when it is low makes you far more likely to be able to secure it. It's also worth noting that if you press this button to attack and there's only a wild Pokemon in range and there's no enemies, it will still attack the wild Pokemon. Automated basic attacks is off. You want control over when your attacks fire off, especially if you're playing various characters that have boosted that are key to have happen at certain moments. In motion pursuit mode, you definitely want to turn this one off. If you have in motion pursuit mode on and you press your attack button and there's no one in range, it's going to try and walk your character towards something to get it in range to attack, which can cause you to end up in spots that are far less than ideal. For scoring controls, I think you definitely want press a single button as opposed to holding it down. This prevents misclicks from you sliding your finger off the button early. You can still move to stop scoring, but this way, if you get disrupted, it's the only way your scoring stops unless you wanted to, which is ideal. The lock-on icon, I've heard arguments for both ways. Personally, I think the lock-on icon adds a layer of complexity to your microing without adding a whole lot of value. I would advise playing with this and seeing if it feels good for you or not. I think on the Nintendo Switch especially, the interface for this is exceptionally clunky in a way that's not great. So again, play with this and see if it works for you, but most players, even high-level competitive players I know, do not use this feature, and neither do I. Move sensitivity panel. I like cranking this all the way up so you can get extra precision at the fastest speed possible. Again, this is going to be a personal preference thing, how quickly your move aimer slides around the board. You should play with this and figure out what works well for you. I think camera follows move as well as move aim follows direction are both ideal things to have on. Camera follows move is notably useful with things like Decidueye Spirit Shackle or Solar Beam, where the move itself is going to aim off of your screen. It has the screen kind of slide over so you can see where you're going to be hitting. Move aim snaps to nearby target is definitely something you want to turn off. Otherwise, it kind of unpredictably snaps your auto aim all around to different things, making it very difficult to predict and requiring you to readjust if you're trying to aim at a target that isn't nearby to you with a longer range attack. Camera sensitivity dictates how fast your camera moves when you slide it around. On mobile, you touch the top of the screen in between the mini map and the right side. On the Nintendo Switch, if you hold the left bumper button, you can use the right stick to pan the camera map. You're going to see good players sliding the screen around quite frequently to try and get eyes on objectives if they're being hit or things of that nature, to get that extra information when they're not microing explicitly with their character. Under battle info, there are a couple of useful things to toggle on as well. The boosted attack gauge being the most important of this. Most characters get a boosted attack under specific conditions that vary per character, and the boosted attack gauge kind of shows you when you can expect that boosted attack to be coming up to make your strategize with that extra damage. Show cooldown decimal values kind of gives you more precise when your attack is finally going to be coming off of its cooldown, so you can be mashing that button a little bit sooner to get it off again as soon as possible. Next, we're going to be talking about held items. These are a customization feature for your Pokemon inside of battles. Each character can hold 3 going into any given fight. They can do things such as Muscle Band here, which increases your attack speed while also letting you deal additional damage, to making you critical hit more frequently, to making your skills come off of cooldown faster, to increasing your defensive or special attack stats. The number one question I get asked regarding held items is not only which ones go on which characters, but which items should new players be prioritizing on leveling up and why. Most specifically, when you hit account levels 10, 12, and 14, you get 1 super item enhancer to put an item automatically to level 30. And those are pretty valuable resources. You want to put them on items that are going to do the most work for you. To start with, every item has 2 parts to the bonuses it provides. The first is the kind of flat bonuses. In the case of Muscle Band here, this is the attack and attack speed. And you can see as I adjust the slider here, all of these stats adjust ever so slightly. The second part of held items is the passive bonus that they give. In the case of Muscle Band, it lets you deal 1%, 2%, or 3% of the target's remaining HP every time you hit them with a basic attack. Now, how do you get from that 1 to 2 to 3%? At level 10 on your held item, you get the second modifier. And then at level 20 on your held item, you get the third and final modifier. The thing to be aware of is that the number of item enhancers it takes to take an item from levels 21 through 30 is the same as it takes to get 3 other items from 1 through 20. So the key to knowing which items you want to spend your super item enhancers on are which ones gain the largest benefit from these flat modifiers here, as opposed to the items you are playing primarily for the passive bonus that maxes out at level 20. In my opinion, I've got Muscle Band up here to start. I think Muscle Band is one of the best items in the game to put to level 30. You can put it it on almost anything. Most characters gain a benefit from having their attack speed increase because you're going to be auto attacking quite frequently. Getting an extra 2.5% on that creates a lot of value on a lot of characters. The other two super item enhancers that you get should be spent depending on which type of characters you prefer. I think there are 4 other held items that see a pretty decent benefit going from 20 to 30. The first 2 of these are ones that would be used on damage dealing characters. Scope Lens is an item we primarily play for additional crit rate, additional crit hit damage, and then Razor Claw gives us additional crit hit rate as well. So if you're someone that likes playing characters that auto attack a lot and are critical hit focus, Scope Lens and Razor Claw are excellent for those. The other 2 items go on a slightly different types of characters that you could potentially use your super item enhancers on. And the first of these is Energy Amplifier. This makes it so your Unite move recharges faster and your skills come off of cooldown faster with CD reduction. Similarly, Shell Bell is another item that reduces the cooldowns of your skills, and this is based on what level this is. If you only get this 20, you only get 3% versus 4.5%. Shell Bell, Energy Amplifier are items that definitely excel on caster style Pokemon, which is to say Pokemon that use their skills to get a majority of their damage as opposed to auto attacking. Now, past those 5 items, there's a number of items in the game that are really playable, but don't see a huge benefit going from levels 20 to 30. Focus Band is one of these items. The key part about Focus Band is this passive that we play here. Upon reaching 25% HP or less, each second for 3 seconds, you heal 8, 11, or 14% of your missing HP. So the difference between levels 1, where you only get 24% of your HP back, and level 20 on this, where you get 42, is pretty big. However, the defense and special defense that you gain going from 20 to 30 is only 10 additional points. These flat stats are pretty small to the point where they're not super significant inside of a lot of engagements. If you're playing Focus Band, you're largely playing it for the passive. So this is an item I would recommend only leveling up to level 20 and not using your super item enhancers on until you're much later in the game and have a lot of excess item enhancers. Speaking of items that you don't really need to push for 30 and you're largely playing for the passive modifier, stacking items are something that are unique to Pokemon Unite that I would like to call out. So there are 3 stacking items: the attack weight, the special attack specs, and the Eos cookie, which all have a very similar effect. These items simply give you a stat modifier for the remainder of the game every time you deposit Eos energy in an opponent's goal, up to a maximum of 6 times. And you can see here, again, the difference between a level 20 attack weight and a level 30 attack weight is simply 6 extra points of attack. And this item at level 20 raises your attack by 12 6 additional times. So this item, once you get those 6 stacks in, is going to be giving you a total of 84 additional attack at level 20 versus 90 at level 30. So while it's strictly better at 30, it's very minimally better. And this is another item that I would recommend leaving at just level 20 until you have your collection of held items completely rounded out. Similarly, special attack specs and Eos cookie all scale in similar manners. The goal is to get these items to 20 so you can max out the bonus on their passive before doing anything else. Up next, we have the Pokemon Unite Boost Emblem system as another means to customize your characters. There's 2 parts to every Boost Emblem. The first is whatever color or colors they provide. These provide a passive bonus to you if you have a certain number of emblems of those colors in your 10 emblem loadout. The second part is the flat modifier they provide. They provide a penalty to 1 stat, in the case of Bulbasaur here, minus 50 HP, while providing a bonus to a different stat, in this case, plus 3 special attack. The thing that you really want to note about these emblems early on is that the passive modifiers that you get from the colors tend to be a lot more impactful than these passive modifiers. To give an example, the average Pokemon in Pokemon Unite has thousands of HP, especially when it gets leveled up, so losing 50 overall really doesn't matter. Similarly, plus 3 special attack, the average special attacker has, 600 to 1,000 special attack, so getting 3 additional, even times 10, is only 30, which is not a big bonus overall to that stat line. Another thing to note when creating boost emblems loadout is that some emblems, the more valuable ones in this case, have two colors between them, so you can double dip into your bonuses. For example, if we look at my rather fleshed out emblem collection, you can eventually create loadouts like this, where I have not only 7 black modifiers, but also 6 green, 2 white, and 2 purple. Again, when you look at these passives, you'll note that the biggest improvement is when you get finally fully up here. It's 1%, then 2%, then 4%. So even these passives here, which you'll need a little bit deeper emblem pool to build, are still pretty small. 1% HP, 2% special defense. These black and green are the most important part of this loadout where we're hitting that maximum bonus. To call out a flat stat that's often a little bit confusing to new people because 84 does seem like a big number, movement speed on the average Pokemon Unite character is about 3,700. So plus 84 to a 3,700 movement speed is a very negligible bonus overall. Finally, the question I get asked most frequently from newer Unite players is, Jeff, what Pokemon are good and why? If you want a subjective answer to that question from yours truly, if you scroll down here on the front page of Hooglandia Unite, you're going to find a playlist of a bunch of tier list videos. You can click on into the latest one to find out what my thoughts are on things, whatever current balance patch we're experiencing. There's a lot of other excellent content creators in the Pokemon Unite community, such as Spraggles here in my own subscriptions, who also regularly put out tier list videos if you're looking for more things like that. If you're looking for a little bit less subjective meta analysis, uniteapi.dev/meta is definitely the place to go for that. This records character pick rates and win rates for the last week. You can see as I'm recording this, we're currently under a little bit of a mime apocalypse. You can click on in to any of these characters here as well to see what kind of success people are having with that character in terms of what skills they're taking. So for Mime on example here, we can see 91% of people are taking Psychic and Power Swap, and we can see they're probably doing that because it's great. Not only does this have a 91% pick rate, but it has the highest win rate of all of these skill combinations on this character as well. As far as specific build loadouts go, if you go back to my own page here at the very bottom of this, there are a series of playlists for all of the different characters that I play. You can click on into any of my highlights there, and I'm going to talk about what emblems I'm using, what held items I'm playing, what attacks I'm using, and why I prefer those on that character. But again, lots of great Pokemon Unite community resources, everyone from Spraggles and Super Teeds and lots of other content creators that I can't list here. Thanks for watching this video all the way through the end. Is there an important topic you think new Pokemon Unite players should know about that I didn't cover? Let me know in the comments down below so I can perhaps consider covering that at some point in the future. If you thought this video had useful information in it, make sure you drop a like and share it with someone who's getting on into Pokemon Unite that you think could benefit from it. Thanks for watching. As always, folks, remember to check back on in for some more character highlights every single day here on YouTube.